Hello everybody! Today I have a book haul for you, and it's decently sized, so let's get started. The first book I have is The Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher, and this is the first book in the Codex Alera series. I think it's like 5 books, maybe 7. This is a fantasy novel, which I don't honestly remember a whole lot of what it's about. I pretty much bought this because Reagan of Peru's Project really likes it, and it sounded kind of cool and interesting, and I will have to see how it is. I think I'm going to probably pick it up soon, I think. It sounds good. I haven't read fantasy in a little while. I kind of got off the fantasy kick when I finished all the Game of Thrones books, and I was like, I really need a break from this. So I'm excited to get back to something I actually really enjoy. The next book I got is Stormfront, which is the first book in the Dresden Files, also by Jim Butcher. Also purchased this in part because of Reagan of Peru's Project, although I've definitely seen people reading this book for like a million years. I feel like, like on the bus in school and like in college, people would just be picking it up. And it sounds really cool. Basically, it seems urban-y fantasy, and there's this guy, I believe Dresden is his last name, and he is a wizard, and he gets hired by people to find stuff and do things. And I think this is actually like a pretty long series. I'm not really sure if there's an overarching plot really as a part of it, or if it's kind of just like a book-by-book sort of deal. By this one, Dresden Files. The next book I got is called Tide by Holly Black. And I got this as part of this online book exchange that I did. And so I also have no idea what this is about. But I haven't read a book by Holly Black, and I think this book is a trilogy. And I think fairies are cool, and I wanted to read like a fairy tale kind of thing. Not like a fairy tale, but like about fairies, like with the wings and the pixie thing. So I'm excited to check this book out. And it's got a nice cover. I like the butterfly wings, they're pretty. And then I got this book called Just My Type by Simon Garfield, and this is basically sort of like a history of typography, or talks a lot about typography, and gives lots of nice like examples, and talks about all these different fonts, which is really cool. I am interested in graphic design as part of the job I actually work at. I don't do graphic design, but it's like a part of kind of what I work with. And so I'm excited to read about fonts, and I've seen this around, not BookTube necessarily, but other parts of YouTube, and I'm also excited to read a nonfiction book. I don't read like any nonfiction ever, and so I'm excited to kind of check this out and see how nonfiction goes for me. The next book I got is Hand Lettering Ledger by Mary Kate McDurrett. And this book is not really sort of a book, but it's like a wreck this journal kind of thing, except it teaches you how to do lettering. So if you've ever seen those things, like people take quotes and then they make them in all these cool fonts, that's sort of what this book is for. It's supposed to be like a workbook for you to just kind of mess around and do stuff in, and then also it kind of teaches you how to do some of the different font letter stuff. I think lettering is really cool, and I think it's an art style. It's one of the few that I could maybe kind of do, because I sort of already do it already when I write notes or send letters or things. I always doodle little words and make names look fun and things like that, so I'm excited to try to expand my repertoire of fonts. The next book I got is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, which, dude, can we just talk about this cover for a second? Like, look at this guy. He's all intense. He also, like, vaguely looks like Altair from, what's it called? Assassin's Creed, right? With the white and the thing. Anyway, I also bought this book because of Reagan from Peru's Project, but it is a fantasy series, guys, not a trilogy. I think it's going to be like 4 books. Isn't that exciting? And it's a fantasy novel, and I believe follows 4 characters, which they list on the back: a princess, a rebel, a sorceress, and an heir. And it looks like there's going to be like a war coming, and probably it's about these characters getting ready for the war. I don't know. There's a sequel out right now called Rebel Springs, one of those. And so I'm excited to get this started. I've had this book for a little while on my shelf, so I need to add it up to put it higher up on the TBR list. And then I also got a bunch of comic books this period of time since my last book haul, which is great because I love comic books. So the first one that I got is Fables, Legends, and Exile. And the whole reason I bought this is because I've been playing this game called The Wolf Among Us, which is a really super cool game, and if you have a PC, or I think it's on PlayStation 3 as well, you should definitely check it out. It's really cool. It's a story-based game, so as opposed to being simply just like a shooter or like an adventure game, it's more about how you interact with the characters as opposed to how quickly you can shoot all the targets in a period of time, But anyway, Fables, The Wolf Among Us is based on this comic book series, Fables, and what this is about is taking a bunch of fairy tale characters, and they have to, for whatever reason, leave fairy tale world and come to essentially like New York. And it's sort of just about how they are. It's very adult. They do, more adulty things. People get murdered. People come, like all kinds of shady things, and so it's sort of about that and how they live in this town, and it kind of follows a bunch of different of the characters. I think on the cover here, you know, you got Snow White, you got the Big Bad Wolf. I think this is Little Boy Blue who like blowed his horn or whatever. But yeah, so I'm actually really excited to start this. It's supposed to be really good, and if it's anything, if it's as good at all as the game, which I'm assuming it will be, I think I'm really going to like it. And the art is kind of interesting. It's definitely more like the classic comic book kind of art as opposed to, you know, it looks a lot more like an old school like Batman-y thing. So I think this is probably like from the 80s based on the way that it looks. But anyway, the next comic I got is Saga Volume 3, and I think I've talked about Saga before on this channel. If not, I should do like a little review thing. Saga is amazing. It's by Brian K. Vaughan, and the art is by Fiona Staples, and the art, just for like a second here, is amazing. The art is great, the coloring is beautiful, the story is really fun. Basically it's set sort of, it's like a sci-fi series, and there's these two characters who come from these each different worlds, and the two worlds are warring with each other, and they fall in love, and they have a baby, and it's sort of just about that. Like, they're both of their respective governments find out that they have the baby, and they're trying to like kill the baby, and there's other stuff kind of going on. And I'm probably not making it sound as good as it is, but it's a very, very good series. And also this cover is really nice, and I'm just excited to continue with it, because it always ends in a good way. And then lastly, I got Adventure Time with Fiona and Cake, which is a comic book series. I enjoyed Adventure Time, the TV series, and I did really enjoy the episode where they sort of had the Ice Kings fan fiction, which was Fiona and Cake. It's fun. I don't know. It's just a fun little thing to read. It was cute. I already read it, and it was a good little, you know, reintroduction and enjoyment of Fiona and Cake, and there's a couple extra little like side plots in here, but the art's still pretty good. It definitely looks like the TV show. And I just like that you have Fiona doing like badassy things as a lady character, as opposed to just having Finn do all this fun stuff. But yes. Yeah, so those were all of the books that I have acquired recently. If there's any particular books you'd like me to do specifically a review on, let me know. I'll probably end up doing a review of a lot of these, because reviews are things that I like to do. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing great. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!